we like to say, and then straight into the fire. I mean, this game here, this should be the one here tonight. You know, I think BDS and Falcons, as much as what a good series it was, I think we kind of knew who was going to take it. We always were going to fancy Falcons in that series. Whereas this, there is no favorite. There is no clear winner. We know the levels of both of these teams. Both, in my eyes, deserving of making it to the major. But only one of them get that opportunity here today.
Today, I think it's the fairest asterisk to put on this, because obviously neither of these teams are running the risk of elimination. Neither of these teams ends their run at the chance at the major today. And let's be honest, let's put our little honesty hat on. They're probably both going to make it. I don't think there's any surprise or a shock there. What this is a grudge match. What this is a sort of blood brawl. And what this is the two of the potential top teams going, oh yeah, I can run your distance in a best of 3. I can put this stress in, and they'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but they'll probably meet again at Munich.
Grand final.
Of everything?
Every tournament, yeah.
A Munich
that means
final.
EU always wins. Get in there, EU. Come on.
Come on. How have you been? What were you up to this morning?
Just watch the game.
All right.
Pretty much.
Bomb located
Enjoy
by
it?
attackers.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think BDS winning Shell, I thought they started off really strong, and then just, I think, again, Clubhouse said yesterday it was just a bit of a blip that they even won that yesterday, and again, you've seen that Clubhouse. From there, just momentum goes to Falcons. Always fancy them whenever it gets into the third map then, and yeah, Falcons walk away as the expected winners. Now, Border. This is a map that we don't see all too often. It is obviously the more chaotic map inside of the pool, where real hard breach traditional ways of approaching the map, it goes out the window. Who can kill who is what this map's all about.
And Alabama is the first one killed. Almost immediately removed here as we get our lead in. Is it going to be a sort of violent brawl? As I said, I don't think it's going to immediately jump itself in. Yes, it will be sharp. Yes, it will be pointed. And yes, it will be Border, which often has its sort of rules and its histories written in a cascade of blood. But at the same sort of excuse of it's early on in this engagement, right? You've got a Solace gone. That's the limitation of potentially playing underneath. That'll free them to try and move their way on. Maybe if they want to get a plant on the archive side and slip their way in, that's good. But it seems like they're focusing on CC first of all. You've got 2 players to try and root out. Blaz is in partial open. And now he's not. Kind of easy there for Noah.
Yeah.
Almost gets stomping as well.
Bit of a cheap kill to give away. And Secret are just picking them all off just from outside. I mean, haven't really needed to enter the building. G2 just giving picks away. Nice pick there from Loira, but isn't going to be ready for the guy just full sprinting at him in from east. Secret, that is a very simple and easy first round for them. They probably won't get easier today.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot in that from the side of G2. I'll be honest. But again, it's also early on. It's sort of first doors, first fights, and first sort of positions and all of this. They're in good spirits, but they, you know, caught out of place, caught out of shape. It happens. We'll see if they can try and continue that on. The rotate comes around, and Secret, a snappy opening. Will it progress into a snappier finish as we go across? Border itself, obviously, you know, it plays well into the favor of Secret. They've got themselves the 2-0 recent record on it, but they were taken all the way to OT by Gen G, and then a pretty handy win against Wild before that. In the meantime, all the way to OT, but the wrong side of it was G2 versus
10
Falcons
seconds remaining.
not too long ago, which sort of tells you the merit of this map, as it can sort of swing both potential ways. The problem is G2's defensive win rate from that game was 2 rounds over all the 8 that they played. This really isn't going to be their strong half here, don't they?
No, and it probably won't be for any team. You know, Border, I think, is massively attacker-sided. I think the takes that you can go for, abusing a lot of the great meta operators, like I mentioned, whenever hard breach isn't really an issue, it opens up for potential of other operators. You know, you think about the utility dump, you've got You know, Ying is up for Secret. You've got Brim too. The Shields, 2 of them are still up there for Savage if he wants to go for them. And you'll just see that, you know, it's all about pacing, I think, for Border and how quickly you can get in and take the map. Remember, it's not a big map. It's only 2 floors. So already we have seen a bit of action over towards Secret side. They got the opening pick on Delora, but Doki has been able to at least get a kill back. You see G2 on this Vents defense. They will be looking to hold in towards Armory. And I think Secret, they're going to be aware of that. So again, it's just that steady approach of getting yourself geared up into areas such as CC, such as East, that Anne had pointed out that, again, yeah, really big pivot points, and that is usually where we would see attackers want to stem a lot of their takes from, are going to be from them 2 points. And already for Secret, they've got East, they've got CC, they've got what they need now to start working and opening up that top floor.
Trying to put their pressure all the way across the top. As you said, they've got it open. They can start trying to make it work. They just missed that slip fight. Don't miss it for long. Savage gets the head of Doki. Wants to find a second in Fountain. Ooh, doesn't. Alamal's able to get one. Then the second trades out. But in the meantime, Stompin's found Doom. So they've leveled things back up. 2 and 2 apiece. You have Adrian and Noah. They've got a little bit of utility to work it, and a C4 that could be a bit defining. They're waiting for the right moment. They try and arc it on the plant. Oh no, they missed it. Oh no, they missed the throw on the cold. He's stuck in a position. There's the cover from Blazer, 1 versus 1. But they have a minute here, Noah. They're just going to pre-fire the corner. They're both playing it as tight as possible, but Blaz wins it out.
Oh, that's a big 1v2 there for Blaz. When they needed him, he called. I mean, Blaz has been, I think, an absolute stunner this stage. Blaz, I think, had a rough time at stage 1. Again, trying to get to grips with a new role for him. And then finally now, stage 2, the penny's dropped. He's well suited into that more backline role that he has had to take up the mantle for. And yeah, clutches up when his team needs him to. Stompin, I mean, unlucky timing, you know, you can see that he was going for the gadget and they dropped just at the perfect time. But yeah, still, G2 win the round. I think G2 did a great job, though, at, you know, just constantly keeping the kills at level. You know, they never wanted to give Secret a big advantage in the man count. So yeah, much better from G2 that round compared to the first. Keep Secret at bay, get the kills flowing. 1-1.
I think there's almost that element. You could see him running the numbers a bit, where I think he had the C4. Probably a teammate pointed out, oh, if you do the Tibber out, and you can see their footprints. And then they dropped with that sort of situation. He was already on the roll between all of his gadgets and just got a little bit muddled.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
As he said, Blaz, what a step up they've had coming into sort of this roster and building and finding their feet. They've always been a player of sort of potential and capabilities, and it's being harnessed and helped and sort of illuminated by how the roster has grown into themselves over the past 6-7 months.
Drone activated.
Here, traded rounds already, early engagements already, and I guess when you're looking at how this series can sort of grow itself out across it, I mean, Bank as a middle, as a brawl is going to be just insane as a sort of potential. Like, regardless of how this map goes, you could not begin to imagine how that Bank is going to resolve itself.
Yeah,
and that's the sort of game here that G2's put forward, I think.
I generally think you look at the first 2 maps. I think this map comes down to how well, you know, the fraggers in each team are going to perform. Whereas whenever we get to Bank, it's going to be that battle between Savage and Alamau, I think, the battle of the IGL. So we are going to get just, you know, a great display. Everyone has to kind of step up in different ways on different maps. And that's what it's all about. I mean, the spot for the major, it's there. Who wants to join Falcons? Again, we start off with a kill back and forth. G2. Oh, Doki. That is a fantastic little spray there. Right on the Savage. Loiro with another now. Oh, G2. They're purring now, Emmy.
Yeah, they've sort of seen that possibility and they've just closed down on it. Adrian encircled and locked out. And G2 just sort of keep harnessing that pressure, keep harnessing the control over the map itself. They've brought the control back in towards their favor, and then they can kind of close it down. And, you know, as you said, it's sort of that thing where I think both teams are still going to kick into gear. I don't think this is the full pace of either of these two teams yet. It's the start of a brawl. It's jabs, it's tests, it's, oh, you've gone for early picks. Now we're going to try and get this lean out and the pick onto Mowgli. And, you know, we've got early opening engagements on every single round so far as well. It's kind of part of just playing border. But nobody's shying away yet. Nobody is trying to circumvent the other's approach. They're more just sort of saying, oh no, I can take that jab. He is mine. 2-1. I do like, I'm going to make a comment onto something that you said actually before we came in, when Milos was interviewing us, as he does sometimes. And your opinions on the bank. You did the phrasing of it's going to be the IGLs against each other, right? That's your perspective on bank.
Yeah.
But the way you phrased it was you said they both speak Portuguese, so rather than saying they're both from the Brazilian scene. So
No, Savage isn't.
5 seconds left.
So you think because
Savage it's Portuguese. Like Savage is from Portugal. But
okay,
I know Savage.
Fine, but
Yes, they speak. They both speak. Look. I'm just trying to say stuff. You know, I'm just saying if Savage wanted to, he could play in Brazil, but he's not because he's one of our own and he's not going to leave us. He's not like Alamau, where he's a traitor to his own region. Savage ain't like that. Savage number one.
Savage number one. Fine, yeah. But just like it's like, oh, they both speak.
But they
English,
both see the
play
game. They both see the game in the same way.
Yeah,
I know both of them, and it's where the IGL.
See, that's the secret. That's why I doubled down with my questions.
To be fair, Milos liked it whenever I mentioned about them being, you know, they spoke Portuguese. He did like the snap and the point. That means you've got Milos's attention if he does one of them.
This is not a point. Language. Loira got Savage, and Noah gets Loira. Don't entirely know what the hope was there on the end of it, but they've lost the Blackbeard. They've lost that shield sort of entrance. And, you know, you can talk about how good Savage is with the shield, but it's not very good if you can't get in the building. Control over onto the gadgetry and on the eastern side as they sort of eye up an office take rather than the, you know, we saw. I'm not going to call it a CC take because although it was pressure onto CC, the Sense gadget, and that was what they were sort of flowing onto, I don't think they ever really entered the building to win out the first half. Adrian gets Alamount, gets it locked down. There's some pressure here down in towards the mirror window. The position is sprayed back and forth, and Adrian, last bullet, gets one. Mowgli gets the cross, and now it is just Blaz left. Slips their way in, does down and end one player. Pressure on towards the archives door, and they're just going to lean into it, but ooh, it was close.
I mean, see Mowgli kind of walk through that door frame and he got hit by a bunch of you till I actually thought maybe that could have been an opportunity for Blaz, but somehow Mowgli's still able to get the pick. Now, East it's all the roar at the moment here for Secret. A lot of, I'm pretty sure all of their takes have kind of stemmed from taking East. And you've seen for G2, they didn't want to give it up. I mean, G2 just kept on fighting. You know, they're playing operators like the Mirror to assist in holding Fountain that then, again, assist you in being able to hold East side. But give credit to Secret. They hit some great shots all around. And Mowgli, he's getting Malusi'd. He got hit by the Aruni. He got everything. A rehost.
Oh, no. Well, a little bit of a break momentum. That's a really big... Oh, barely any of a break momentum.
5 seconds to go.
All right. Allowed them a sip.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Traded, but only technically one round, one site won by the attackers so far, which is the Armory Locker site. As I said, it's been two different approaches. You obviously had the, you know, first on towards the Armory side, on towards TC. As I said, they didn't really enter the building, but also then they didn't really enter the building. They got themselves in on East. They got the control there, and you know, they put the pressure out across, but that is border, right? You often don't need to enter the building to be engaged in a firefight. They're swinging themselves on towards that Fountain position. They've stepped inside one door, and that's already the closest hold towards the site itself. Been the good sort of trade and push either side, but can they try and make it land elsewhere? Remember how close this was before. On towards Vent. Savage on the shield, though it didn't net a reward last time. Oh, the C4 will end Mowgli, and now the shield is going to see if it can try and operate its way across. What were you looking at? Not the right thing. Something gets caught as well as Loira. 2 quick changes out. The grenades will force the motion to kill Savage, and Blaz gets Doom. Noah does get Blaz. It's just Doki in a 1 versus 2. Oh, no, it's not. There goes the end of Alamau, who is trying desperately to get towards the hatch. And now, Doki versus Adrian. One fun fact, they both speak English. Does it mean they think the same demo?
One speaks Polish as well, other one speaks Scottish, and there you go, the Scottish one wins. Oh my. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that TK, how that has happened is beyond me. That felt like panic stations there for Secret.
Yeah.
Savage has done well to get himself into a position where he can challenge into the heart of that map, which of course can be Fountain. You know, Fountain is a kind of like, it's like the roundabout. You know, it's right in the center. It can branch off to all multiple different ways. That's where you want to be. And Savage got himself into that position. He kills one guy inside a CC, or break, sorry, who's just not looking at him. And then he pushes deep in towards Fountain. Now, Savage at this stage, I think, has this under control. You'll see he fires 2 nades at. I mean, this guy can't get anywhere. And realistically for Jim, he almost clogs it up. He clogs up the pipes. It's okay if he gets that pick, but because he didn't get the pick, it makes it look even worse.
3-2 though, and it sort of shows, I guess, the immediacy of engagement that you're looking at those narrow margins. You're driving the shield forward, you get a team kill. Team kills don't come on purpose usually.
5 seconds left
but
before
it's
insertion.
How, I guess, patient you can be in some elements. It's how sharp you can be. And Border, because it's so thin, because it's so small, that window gets super narrowed. They're pushing on towards the Fountain position. They've already got 2 kills. They're already in a pretty good stead. And just that single engagement, the almost desperation of, well, there's no other way to take this than kind of around you and through you. It takes one accidental uncrouch. You can't get more wiggle room. You can't get more width.
Well,
clear down.
Reload! I think this is probably the most important round here for Secret, because I think then at a 4-2 deficit, knowing that you then also have to go and play on this map on the defensive side, it's going to be tough. And we know what G2 are like as well. G2 on the attacks, I think this stage, they've been ferocious in how they've kind of applied themselves. So yeah, this is a big round for Secret, and I think they need this. Now, you look at the strategy that they're kind of going for. They're sacking off the shields. They're opting now in for your Ying and your Grim. They're going to really try and go with the utility dump and try and make, you know, any kind of static defensive position an absolute nightmare to play in, and they're going to try and look towards East first of all.
Ooh. Good catch, good pressure. And, well, rough death there for Alamau. He's taken out. A little bit of damage is done to the 3 of the core of the Secret approach. As Loira does find Savage, though. Levels things up. Now, can Blaz offer some support to Doki, who's sort of trapped in a corner, or do they not know about Doki's position? I think they do, and that's why they've peeled themselves away. This has been a bit of a false start, and they don't think they've got enough to try and push this one over the edge. On towards the side itself. 2 more quick kills. There's Loira and Stompin gone. Blaz above the hatch is under a bit of pressure, but Doki's trying to make his way down. Misses the first engagement, somehow finds the second. Pings on a player. The pressure. They've got the 2 versus 1 on the top floor. Gotta be traded out right now. This is a massive moment. And they're able to find it. They're going for the plant, but they're on the other side of the hatch. So the drop comes out. The C4 practiced and over the top. Doesn't quite make it all the way. Instead, the spray through. Scrappy engagement. They're going to hold themselves close, but they had the watch from above. Secret. Keep us level pegging.
Yeah, needed that round. Gives them now a fighting chance as we go into the, let's say, favored side here for G2, personally. I think coming into Border, again, with the way that G2 can kind of opportunity spot and can just explode into a bomb site, which, I mean, obviously the bans are going to be a big tell as well in terms of what we're going to be after. But yeah, I think an important round there for Secret. They needed to get it on the board. Just flooding again through East. Everything is coming through East for Secret, and it's working well for them. And G2, again, you know, they're trying that retake, but it's so tough. I mean, Border's a map where there's 101 different angles that you just have to try and spot check. Yeah, you look at the bans. I mean, I like the idea from Secret, you know, stop that explosive nature that G2 can bring to the party, take away the Ying, take away the Grim. It will leave shields up, though, which is the only thing that they need to be careful of. Also, I'm seeing a mute ban coming in. Now, was that mute ban perhaps to kind of bolster up a Grim, for example, but then Secret also banned the Grim at the same time the mute ban came in? What it will do, though, is it's going to empower your operators like your Deimos, yeah? You're just going to, unless you have a tub on board, you're not going to be able to counter off the Deimos track, and also a Dokbi call, too. That's going to be another really strong operator that G2 could maybe look at bringing on a map like Border. So yeah, that's the way the bans are probably going to play out.
Reloading! More guns ready. Shoot it if you need it.
At this point, it is everything you kind of want in some regard. You want these teams to be competitive. You want these teams to be at each other every single potential round. You want it to be just long-form trades and long-form pressure. Now, though, as I said before, G2, when they've sort of had this map in their roster and in their play space, it's been something that's been better on their attack, as it is for pretty much every team. But the split is in the comparison. It's not that much different between Secret. They've had more plays on it and more tests on it, which gives us a slightly better pool. But I want to see if G2 can live up to their stats, or if they can keep themselves living up towards the opponents ahead of them. Here, Secret with everything they can to just try and, in some manners, delay. But you know, you look at the pickup of Ella, you look at the fact that they're going to sort of try and play the swings back in towards any appearance here on the top. And there it is. They're just refusing to let them anywhere near the building, let alone in it.
Much slower approach compared to how Secret were kind of attacking this opening minute of Border. G2 haven't really made any ground at all. It's a good pick, though, from Stompin. Just plays that long line of sight, takes out Noah. Now, there is still one player inside of Breakroom, but nobody immediately kind of retake that position that they just lost Noah in. So there is now an opportunity for G2 to take in towards CC. Halamau, the glass is gone. That's going to be the big pushing power from G2 off the table now. And three remaining players just almost have to play just in Gunskill alone. I'm sorry, there a massive amount of util really left. And oh, look at that from Mobley. Gets rid of the air jab, I believe, using the tub. Wow.
Oh, I love that. So clever. There's another for Adrian. And G2, it's like they're just being picked apart by an 80s horror villain. It's pulled away from the approach silently into the night, gone. Good hold there on the opening round. And I mean, what, 100% success rate on that site for Secret across their attack and their defense so far. G2 have probably learning a lesson to avoid that as best as possible if they're against this team again. But will this, the deciding sort of other two that have otherwise flip-flopped? I mean, I think Vent has been 100% G2 up to this point on their defenses. They just have to be, in some ways, a little bit quicker and a little bit more together here, don't
they need to be more ferocious, don't they? I think in a map like Border, you need to set the tempo. You need to kind of set that pace right from the word go, which I think Secret did pretty well. You know, every single time Secret were inside of what, East or CC within a minute, ready to take engagements, not afraid to lose bodies as long as they were traded back out. That round there for G2, it was a weird one because they almost just tried to attack the bomb site without taking any kind of staging ground, you know, and it wasn't necessarily a rush. Like, obviously, like an Archives rush is, wow, what a classic, you know, take we expect to see on Border, where you kind of need minimal map presence. And we've seen that work, you know, plenty of times before. Whereas you look at G2, it wasn't a rush. They weren't looking to take control of an area very fast. They just kind of like lingered out on the CC balcony and just hoped that they would try and walk into Armory with maybe trying to find a pick. But Secret were very, you know, reserved. I think Adrian did a great job at just sitting in the site, playing the anchor position.
Drone's ready.
I think at this point as well, you know, you're looking at teams that are still, as I said, early days, early sort of probes. It's the first time G2's working out their attacks. They're, I'm not going to say cautious. It's a worrying thing to see in the top right, but we can still see the game. There's the pressure, the swing round. Loira gets one. Doom instantly gets the revenge, and Stompin is able to thread it. Here's that aggression we pined for, and here's a response from Secret. Step themselves back in towards these lost positions, reassert their control, or at least create some danger and some pressure around those portions of the map that G2 took. Top of these stairs. No, that's gone back. Break. No, that's gone back. Now Doki gets CC and gets break, and he's almost expecting that response once again, but with only 2 of them left. Instead, Secret pull their cards closer towards their chest and pull themselves back towards the site itself.
Yeah, much better attack there from G2. Got themselves in early. They traded the kills back and forth. They've been able to walk away with a man advantage now, and with just so much time, they can just really grind it out now and just make sure that they don't make any mistakes, make sure the drone work is done. Realistically, as soon as they know where these 2 remaining players of Secrets are, I expect that G2 will just capitalize on that. And yeah, you know, with Adrian going down and leaving Jum now in a big old clutch in a 1v3, this is going to be tough for him.
He's got himself above again. And as he clears the air jab, he's the only one up here, but that's a very noisy beeper. That'll give the game away on his position and what he's trying to do. Are they planning on planting? They're sort of fishing for position. The smoke will buy him some position to go to. Drops down, gets none. Good read. Good read.
Yeah, not really an issue there for G2. Camera still upstairs. They knew where he was. And again, it's just a case of just moving around until you can get players upstairs to challenge onto him. So yeah, G2, good old round for them. That's more like it. That's what we want to see. That pace, that aggression. I think it's a great game so far. I mean, Border, this is obviously, it's going really, really quick. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This has been a rapid map, but that's just because Border is like this. Yeah, it's all about the kills. It's all about the trades. You know, like you're looking at Habana here. No, not even using the Habana pellet. It's just because you don't need to. You don't need to use them if you're Blaz.
I think at this point as well, you know, if you're talking about the aggression, there's only been 1 round where the opening kill wasn't in the opening minute, and it says a lot about Border as a whole, right? But it's also the confidence at which you hit it. I think even though technically round 7 was within that opening minute, G2 weren't really clued into it. They weren't really locked into it, and I think it was Doom swinging out and just getting Loira outside the building. There, the pressure was coming across the top. The entry statistic has traded pretty consistently back between these 2 teams as well. Twice it's gone away from the team that got the opening. So it's otherwise been a bit of a better read of who's actually going to pull out the round on top, but you know, it shows that it's not impossible. Playing with the Denari again, and maybe playing with some of the follow-through pressure.
Just think with the fact that it's only got 2 floors, I think we can see kind of similarities as well with Skyscraper. Skyscraper, it's the same. We see some pretty quick entries as well on that map. Whenever you're looking at a map that only has 2 floors and you don't really have like that kind of dedicated basement site where it is a lot slower, this is kind of what you expect to see a lot of the time. It's just trying to fight for map control. And hey, if we get to the 3rd map, it's Skyscraper, you'll see similarities as well. You know, you'll see teams want to take certain positions, work their way across, trade kills, fight for it. So yeah, I mean, it's also in terms of plants, again, I wouldn't say either team has really been plant orientated. It has just been who can outgun each other.
I mean, it's been a long season, and I don't think we've cast the Skyscraper.
It's only been played twice, I believe, this stage.
Yeah, but across all the regions that we've covered, I don't know, as Doom gets down, they're looking for the follow-through. Doki tears the head off a Savage who was sort of caught out on a camera and couldn't get a decent response. Someone close on the pillar as the Denari will get caught out. There's pressure on the stairs that Noah moves into. Great bit of motion. Keeps himself alive. They've been able to get Doom back up as well. Oh, but then Adrian goes down as the follow-through. Stomping. Stomps on the man with the magical glasses, and now that puts them in the 4 versus 3, but the motion is still so aggressive. Nobody really has any real control at that moment in time, so the fight happens right in the middle. Now, though, in the 4 versus 2, with such a little amount of health on the 2 remaining players, how do they operate this with a minute and the tracks coming through. And you can see Stompin's keeping themselves clear. He's just reading, there's one over here. This is where the site is. They now know that it's one person on the site itself. That's what the Deimos is causing here. And they just need to try and isolate this fight. The read on where the Deimos is one thing, but you sort of expect it. Beautiful take from June. And great response from Blaz, but as Noah still found himself, yes, other side of the map, has to cover the distance. They've got the cut covered, and Doki can just do that.
Yeah, you can see that G2 are just abusing that mute ban. Yeah, that Deimos, that Doki combination, it's just helping him with that kind of opening half where you want to fight for control of the map. You know, those two operators are just an absolute nightmare. It's got to be one of the or the other here, I think, for Secret. It's either the Deimos ban or Doki ban, because that is what's causing them so many problems. In terms of what G2 could ban out, I don't know, just anything you want, really. I don't think G2's really been hindered by one certain operator. Yeah, you went for the yellow ban. I mean, you've seen that a few times be played. Get rid of it, sure. And yeah, like I mentioned, it had to be one of either the Deimos or the Doki, and out goes the Doki.
Well, the timeout. The timeout, as for what feels like the first time we have a team, and it is actually the first time, a team getting a decent bit of a distance on the other in terms of some of this momentum. Because to be fair, you look at the sort of first half of it, and it was traded big rounds back and forth, and there with 2 in a row, that almost felt like both the calmest round and the most under controlled round. It was a great bit of sort of intel. The reads, Doki getting the down and then the follow through kill either side of CC was great, and it gave them an open door, and it sort of sent Team Secret a little bit scattered around the map itself. As I said, there wasn't really any total control, but G2 could operate in that a bit better. And then just having the Deimos track that single loose player and then being like, yep, there's one on site. I've got this player if he tries to rotate back in. There was it. So I guess the follow through this engagement as well. Just beautiful backs and forths. And now we only separate ourselves from G2, locking out this. Remember, this is technically Secret's map as well, though they are pretty good at Fang. Coming in on the back foot and knowing the pressure of it being the best of one and knowing it gets you to the major, it's going to be something that they want to try and get that energy back on.
Well, I mean, Secret, I think, yesterday showed resilience. Look at what they were able to do against Wolves. I mean, 6 in a row from, you know, an abysmal half from Secret.
5 seconds to go.
So, in terms of a team that has already proved that stage they can come back whenever the situation's dire. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it ever comes to that, but right now, Secret only just 1 round behind. Still an opportunity in the way that this border has been going so back and forth. Don't think this map's done just yet, but hey, this could be a big decider, you know, for G2. If they take this, they get on map point then. They have a good number of opportunities and to close it out in regular time. Now, Doki is someone who, obviously, I had mentioned saying, you know, if this guy turns up today, it could be a game changer. Doki, this stage, has not done too well. He's not even in the top half of players this stage, Emmy. But right now, he's a top man in the lobby, 12 and 5.
If there's a game that he wants to win, it's one where there's history on it, right? You can't fault his passion for wanting to rewrite things that he would describe as wrongs, and he's always sort of got that energy where he's like, oh, I remember this game from 3 years ago. I want vengeance. Vogler gets Stompin, and Alamau is trying to get another pick back, but as Noah gets Loira, that 2 bodies fallen away, and whatever conversation was had in the timeout has worked wonders here. But again, we're on the site, the only site that Secret has won this consistently. 3 of their 4 round wins have been on this site. It looks like it's about to turn into 4 or 5. So this one isn't really the problem. Definitely is G2's problem though.
Yeah, I think the timeout from Secret was more aggressive. I mean, we're seeing players outside of the building getting kills. So I like the approach there from Secret. Certainly, I think there's a few opportunities where maybe they just looked a little bit too timid. They kind of sat back. Certainly, I think for that Doki ban, I think that now kind of opens up where you're not having to worry about just that phone call coming in if you want to try and play a little bit more aggressive and then giving that information over to the attackers. So yeah, much better response there from Secret. Flawless as well on top of it. 5-5, back and forth. Still in this situation where we don't know who's going to take it.
Yep, it is our first flawless round. And so much for me saying it was the most controlled round has felt. Because then we get that round immediately after. As I said, there is still that sort of question mark of can they only do it on the Armory Lockers archive site so consistently? As you said, they sort of stepped up aggressively, right? They were more attentive towards that early game, and they've been capable of doing that now and again. It's the second time they've had an opening kill on this second half as well. It's generically been a statistic that's been away from them, but also that now adds to the furthering of it, where of all the rounds we've seen, still only 2 are where the opening kill's gone one way and the round has gone the other way. It's become a very good barometer for just how a round is going to spiral out. Now, though, with all that pressure and all the chance of making it elsewhere, that is where we go to. Remember how this one sort of came together, where it was a really good systematic takedown, and Doki was a big driving force of that. What can they do to try and shake up this position?
Moving to defuse a bomb.
Swapping mags!
In terms of lineup for Secret, certainly leaning into the trap ideology, wanting to slow the kind of potential rat play, I think, from G2 here as well. Fenrir, got the Melusi as well, which you've already seen in this game, and good on border. Whenever you're dealing with just 2 sets of staircases, just lock each of them down with a single Banshee, and then use the other one and anywhere you really want to. Still think for G2 though, and the lineup that they have, I think maybe missing something. I don't know. I think maybe missing a kind of like a big kind of pushing operator. You might be looking at like a shield, for example, which we know they can play, and shields usually cause quite a few issues on a map like border whenever it is so close range environments. You're always able to kind of isolate and get a 1v1 with that shield. But at the moment here for G2, just wanting to play a little bit more of a slow and steady approach. But again, Secret, I think happy enough to kind of sit and hold. What was that, TK? Did he just kill him from outside, from break room? Did he just kill the guy whenever he was outside the break door? Did that happen? Did I miss that?
You might be right, but amongst the chaos, there was also that double push from Secret. We saw a similar thing they ran yesterday in a basement against the Monty. This time they did exactly the same game, right? They realized there's one here. We need to push them right now. Mowgli with the triple kill for the round. Loira at least stops them from furthering that distance, but a 1 versus 3, the vertical is under their control, as well as pretty much everything else, and Loira is going to try, but it's a contact here, right? As soon as they go deep enough for the fight to happen on towards Fountain, then the other player is going to swing. If he goes for Fountain on the other side, then the player on the stairs is going to swing. Oh, he somehow made it work with the prediction, but I mean, as I said, I think Secret had covered all of their bases with just in case he goes one way or the other, we can have 2 players hit him.
I need to see a replay of what happened.
Roll it.
Please. Did he go for an engagement with a guy inside of office, and a stray bullet has went through the break wall out onto Stomping outside of break door?
Oh, we got timeout. Can we roll VT during a timeout?
Is that what happened, or again did I see things?
I'm curious.
Because that is quite like
yeah.
Yeah, he did. That is so unlucky.
Oh.
Wow.
And then that again. I mean, they're the ones to hunt people down. That was good. I mean, it almost wasn't good, but even then, the positioning meant that that player on the top of the metal stairs could then swing round and potentially add a 3rd gun to the problem if they wanted to.
That is a rough one. And look, obviously for G2, this year, we'll look at it as a year for a whole. You know, G2 for a long time, I think I'm the expert where I can talk about this. G2 has been in the ringer. Really, since SI23, the team has not been, I want to say, stable. Yeah. Struggled massively, both inside the league and obviously internationally. Just could never really get anything going. And obviously, you know, we've talked about Stomping in depth and what he's been able to bring onto the side, and the kind of role that he's been able to free up for the other players has been exceptional. And And certainly for G2, I think they do have that belief that they can win something this year. Yeah, I think they really do believe it. I believe it. I think they could really make a push and do something. But still for G2, it's not as though that they're walking in thinking that they're the invincible side. You know, G2 have suffered losses this stage. They've suffered 2 losses.
5 seconds left.
Obviously, we can reference that Falcons game, which it was a close one. An 8-7 is an 8-7 at the end of the day. What can you do about that? But then also they took a loss against Gen G, for example. So I think for G2, it is that case of you know that you're going to be up against tough games, because I just think that the level that especially this stage for EML has gotten to, it's not like stage 1 where they kind of walk for everyone. They really need to work for their wins, and right now, just I think the luck isn't on their side at the moment.
Yeah, entirely that. You're sort of looking at those engagements and especially the long-range death moments like that, and luck. Sometimes you make your own, sometimes it's made for you, and sometimes things like that happen, but that's the joy of the game. You could also talk about how it's not the first TK?
Are we in Hawaii?
I know. Smoke canisters outside break room. Pressure on CC side. Noah is going to try and swing, but he has some support here from Savage. So as soon as they go in, well, they can't right now. More flashes, more pressure, more utility, and nothing because of well-played smoke canisters on the back end of it. Doki's trying to do what he did last time, but with this player so close, I mean, maybe that's the one change, but it stopped Doki getting that opening kill and a half. I talked about the importance before this. The pressure immediately up towards the shield. Good usage, and Stompin has the saving grace, but Noah gets Doki outside. So now that down shield can get mopped up quite quickly, quite cleanly. Savage got another cap can. That's our 3rd cap can kill of the day. Noah gets the kill on the side, and that is all we have for our first map demo.
Yeah, Secret digging in well. They went for the blitz, but I don't know. I think Carl tried to walk into long corridor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm fearful of.
I mean, it is spooky season, right? So it's good to be wise to your fears, but I don't know. With how they started to cook into the first one, and with how these 2 teams have been in terms of form this year, I'm gonna hold some quiet hope. I'm gonna hold some quiet hope there. Either way, Secret, one step closer, one step ahead. Yesterday, you and I had 2 2-0s covered. Earlier on today, I had 3 maps with Tim. This is obviously game 2 of the day. We're going to find ourselves having a full stretch and stress today. Reminder that whoever wins this still has another series to play to get themselves in towards the final of the upper bracket.
Some casters still have another series to cast as well.
Yeah, so you'll be... You've still got a bit of work on after this.
I do. It's fine. I don't go to bed early anyway, so doesn't bother me.
I was gonna say, obviously the rotation was sort of.
Yeah.
I said I didn't mind how this would play out, but
10 seconds to insertion.
In position.
No, I live for the 11 o'clock games. I live for that.
5 seconds left.
well, what time do you wake up on average?
I'm not revealing that information.
Attacker's objective is to
Is
locate
that like
a bomb
private
and defuse
protected
it.
info?
I'm not
That's like-
disclosing that. Not a chance am I disclosing that.
Okay.
No way.
Do you have any glow sticks?
Well, one day maybe we can get to the end of that. That could be the content, like those people, the videos where it shows when people show up to work, when the talent wake up. Ooh, almost woken up and put to bed there, Blaz. I'm gonna say entirely caught out, but within the opening 30 seconds, Savage inside lobby, getting the hatch open, getting an awareness. They haven't entirely given up the territory, but I think there'll be that early sort of warning of like, okay, Secret are hitting us hard and fast on this position. They're in above on stock. You have the reveal of the Echo. You've got their stretch here, and complemented some of the push they made.
Yeah. Obviously yesterday we seen them do a really good little kind of push that Leo even broke down in the telestrator, where they entered in through archive, similar to what they're doing now. Then they used the blitz to force their way in through into kitchen, and then kind of cut off all the points. G2 straight away, they've got an echo cam up here to try and support that. So G2 are a massive counter prep team. If you played a map already, they will know exactly how you played that. They will break it down and they'll be ready for it. So I think Secret are very wise to change things up. It's not the same approach. They're not looking to hit those players inside of open areas straight away, the same way as what they, of course, did against Wolves. So yeah, a lot better of approach, I think, from Secret here to not fall into that trap.
They freeze out and at least temporarily delay the approach on the hatch itself, but temporary is the main part of that, really. There's the pressure onto the gate as well. They've got some of their escape covered. They've also got some pressure coming in from the side of dirt. Doki, how long can you survive? The hatch above the site goes, as does at least one. Savage has got. Noah is almost followed through, but as June gets a pickup, player coming back towards the site itself, they now have servers and they have the body advantage. What do they have to try and stop it? Well, Echo drone's fine in the C4. Oh, okay. No, scratch that. Just Echo drones.
Oh my, the DMR going through for Juman, who's also going to try and go for the plan. He's doing everything right now for his team, and this is just classic Secret right now. The fuse's been planted. We know how this is going to end up in a 1v2 Alamau. No info for him. Diffuser in the perfect position to be held from any number of angles. So Alamau trying to see if he can find a pick, but look, Secret are smart enough. They've played this plenty of times before, and that's an easy one for Secret, as it always is. Secret take the first attack and bank.
Well, that's the start of it. That's the start of the pressure, and the start of how they got into towards the building was quickly, swiftly, aggressively, almost immediately finding the fight. And then, sure, they didn't go with the same plans that they played out yesterday because, as you said, G2, they love to counter prep. They love to see what you've done and gone, oh yeah, we now have a response to that. Oh no, this is a different song. What dance do we do now? It kind of got a bit back. There was a moment where it could have swapped, but that they kept going, that they also had prepared pressure elsewhere, right? The fact that they weren't just sending solo pushes, they had that player pushing up dirt, they were ready for the control, meant that they could then feed on anyone that came in to support Doki's position. Another false start here for G2. Secret, they're off with that first round.
Bomb
We
located by
are
attackers.
off to the top floor, Demo.
Device activated.
Yeah, G2 not wanting to run it back in
10
towards that
seconds left
basement.
before insertion.
Now, for this top floor, again,
5 seconds left.
I think with the bans that Secret have went for, you know, it's very clever. It really does weaken this top floor, especially. No mirror to hold in towards janitors, which we see, you know, be done plenty of times. Clash, again, another great operator for controlling the corridors, controlling square, for example. And then you look at G2 and the bans that they went for. I mean, you've allowed that ranged hard breach on the side of Secret so they can open up that long angle over towards Kanto position that we know that they will play if open to them. So yeah, I think for G2, is it a case of they're going to try and bandit trick and actually tub off the Kanto wall? I mean, it could be, but again, it's a risky one. Not only that, you've got this man on the Monty. I've said before, do not let this guy on this map with this operator. Said before, it's, you know, it's almost like the warning on the back of a Ouija board. You know, may come with some side effects.
Yeah, I mean, having the sort of confidence that he can have on a shield is one thing, right? But also just that raw ability, his seemingly understanding of the shields as an extension of his character is the make or break of a decent shield player. It's not just controlling where you are, but it's the distance that you can control. And that is never a question in his mind when he's sort of making his way across. And that is the make or break for me of a decent shield player. It isn't just what you were doing, but it's what is between you and them, what's to your left and your right. It's like being a good driver. You have to have your awareness on everything around you, and Savage can drive a shield. Mowgli gets Blaz, Doki gets Mowgli, traded back and forth, and he slipped his way up towards the top. Now with Kanto still locked, not going to be able to put some immediate fight through onto it, but Loira, he's going to see if he can try and, no, not do anything. Noah has the catch. Noah has the double down. And this is just systematic. They've got themselves 3 versus 2. Stompin is almost gone, but it's actually Alamau that suffers next, and Stompin on a single sliver of health has to fight in the 1 versus 3. But again, look at Savage's positioning here. He's the man with the kit. He's just going to make sure that the shield is always pointed towards the danger, gets himself to the plant, not leaving anything up to chance or risk. And as the calls come out, now going to get this confirmed. I mean, probably won't be like G2. to go for this position, gets himself through the divide, gets himself up to janitors, and Adrian has the watch. Secret 2-0.
Like dry runs for Secret. Like it really is. It's just so clinical. Savage in that Monty. Just look what he was able to do. Yeah, this is the whole reason why we see Monty be banned a heck of a lot on a map like Bank, because he's the only one who can do what Savage just done, yeah? Being able to walk straight up a staircase off Spiral is usually a risky thing to do because, you know, there's quite a few angles you can get shot from. You think about banana, elevator, the windows inside of the front desk, into a strump, you know, all those different things is going to go against an attacker walking up that staircase. You know, even like barbed wire, Fenrir, you know, anything like that as well is going to slow you down. Monty doesn't care about all that. He just walks up, he's able to check those angles, and walk in to banana very safely. He knows that he's always going to be in a position where he's never going to get shot from behind. That's the big thing about Monty. As long as you can position yourself in that 180-degree cone, you're always going to be safe. And Savage did that. You see him, he just walks up, he's able to spot out the positions, 1, 2, 3, bang, 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 feeds all that information over to his team. And it's not the information of where the defenders are, it's where they aren't. You know, if you are walking in through Trump, you're walking into the bomb site, and you know that there's no one there, then obviously your players in the windows, your players pushing in from behind you, they're going to look at the angles where there probably is going to be a guy. You know, that's, for example, we've been beaten, and we've seen the picks come in from that elevator, another one. You know, just systematically, they broke it down, and it's all off the back of that Monty.
2-0. 2-0, and a very strong 2-0 as well. Do you know what's a fun sort of fact leading into this that I'm just going to throw into the ether? Apart from the fact, obviously, Noah 5-0 for the opening 2 rounds. He's not actually the player I'm going to talk about. At the start of the play day, you know how you said yesterday that Joom is often the second fiddle to Shaiko in this region?
Yeah.
At the end of the play day yesterday, Joom was the #1 EPF rated player. And since Shaiko had such a good performance earlier on stage, that has flipped once again. But it's a distance of 125 on Shaiko to 124 of Joom. So there's a chance that Joom can jump that once again. And then you've got the follow through potentially, if Secret win this, of those two players going head to head later on today. The problem is then you get to a bit of a jump between who's next, and who's next is actually Stompin' and Blaz alongside users. So we kind of need to see Stompin' and Blaz have some of the games that they've had earlier on the season, because currently they're not immediately out. Not even going to try and tango with Savage. Instead, open is yours. Take it. You can have it. Think of how much they've just cleared demo and how much time has passed.
Yeah, you can see that the Secret using the shields is what they always do. An absolutely fantastic shield team, just like G2 as well. Don't forget about G2. They can also pull out the shields at a moment's notice. Now, Secret, and what I assume their attack's going to be, is obviously force that monkey in through server, and then also utilize, I think, the opportunity of bringing the Ossa in. Now, Ossa is an operator that we have seen have the best success rate with taking Garage, and obviously Garage is always, you know, a big talking point of, you know, if an attacker can get themselves into that position, they can, like, cut the bomb site in two. You can lock down the entire red corridor, for example. But getting into Garage is always the tricky thing. And Ossa has had the best success rate because she has that shield in front of her. You can walk in. Loira on this map does a really good job at doing it with the Ossa. We'll probably see that later on. And if you look at where Joom is right now, he's out towards Garage. So he's going to try and do something similar. So really for Secret, it does rely on this take, I think, from Joom. If Joom is able to get himself set up in a position in towards Garage, this is going to be so simple for Secret to execute, knowing that you have that coverage coming in from the other side of the map.
Quick removal of utility. All 10 players still stood, and a Maverick making a couple of lines in the stands to try and dictate who can pass through them. Now they have time to try and play against this utility. The smoke canisters still on board, potentially the Echo drones and 2 C4s. And then last time I made a comment, it didn't quite go well, but Mowgli with the cover here. Joom and the combo. That just gets rid of the bulletproof camera on the back end. Here's the pressure following through, 30 seconds, and they're inside Garage. They have that back to the front, and now they can use the Ossa to just set up a bit of a home. Noah gets Doki as well, and the smoke will force them slightly further back, but won't really stem the flow. Instead, look, they're having to focus on this alternate approach. Mowgli, where's he going? Oh,
yeah, brilliant.
Right there through the site. Noah gets 2. They're just spraying the last man down. Savage doesn't even get slowed by it. Are we going to get a timeout?
Yeah, they've already used it.
Oh, gosh,
They
yeah.
used it at 2-0.
That's the horrifying thing. It did nothing.
You've just almost revealed the killer, but it's not the real killer.
I know.
It's not. This killer's still on the loose. Yeah, I mean, for Secret, it is so simple. And this is where Bank is at its best. Whenever you're able to watch a team do the basic things right, it look like I want to go and play Bank now. I just want to go and do what they did because it looks fun.
Oh,
I want to go in there and absolutely slam my opponents, get a flawless. Another little thing I want to point out as well. Did you notice whenever the two players were in Garage, which, by the way, very unusual to see a double take in towards Garage, but I think June just wanted that extra bit of help because obviously Blaz was kind of stuck in there. Did you notice as Mowgli was walking up the ramp, June was also making noise for him, just tapping that gun to allow Mowgli to get into that aggressive position, and Mowgli just broke his ankles, gave him the footwork. Yeah, brilliant from Secret. Loving what I'm seeing right now.
Oh, it's great. And it's confident. It's clean and clear when they need it. And you're sort of looking at, you don't want to say masterclass, but you're looking at a team that knows this map, plays this map, loves this map. And also Noah, 3 rounds, 7 kills. What a start he sort of had from this as well. It's, especially when you sort of look at the history of Noah from the roster, because, you know, came into this, was one of the lowest rated for the team. When you've got players like Doom having big step out moments and then sort of being a distance to the rest of Secret, they never really had that secondary X factor that a lot of other teams have. But over the past 2 play days, Noah's been sensational compared to the rest of his sort of season that he's had so far. And at this point, what a great time to show up. Preparation on towards the take. The Flores drone is just going to try and, I'm assuming, remove the electrics, and there it is. They can get Kanto popped open and get themselves the pressure. Again, Secret, even though they were very successful last time around with the shield up, they're just going to change things up. They're not going to let G2 have the same plan twice, and it shows the depth of their approach to this map. Secret is they have their A take, it worked great, but let's go for the B take because we can probably make that work great as well.
Yeah, no Monty on board, I think Secret. Obviously realizing that, okay, we don't have the Monty, then we'll still try and open up other areas. That's going to be the elevator wall. Again, G2, I think, with that Monty ban, yeah, was obvious. And straight away, they think, okay, now we can go above. We don't have to worry about that shield, but, you know, Secret are still applying the pressure. This window game that we see in lobby, you know, it's always going to be an action point that whoever plays inside of the front desk where Doki is right now, you know, you need to be ready for that. And I think Doki taking the DMR, you know, kind of as a prerequisite, knowing, hey, I'm going to need to try and fight these angles at some point. Yeah, it's a smart idea, but he's just under a lot of pressure now. And realistically, he's a one-shot from, you know, the big bad DMRs that Twitch and Lion gets.
Exactly. It's not going to be impossible to have to root him out. They can try and get themselves situationally around that for the response as well. As soon as Doki does try and swing out, it's a very loud gun, a lot of noise. Here's a Maestro Cam doing its best to hold on, but what's it going to do if Mowgli just drives their way in? Fine, you're getting zapped, but it's at the cost of Lyra and Doki as well, Mowgli! I mean, he's just body after body. Throwing the flash down. There's a player above White as well. Hit from the top rope. Savage. Broke a man in half. There's 3. They just won't stop, Demo.
Throw in the towel. We shouldn't be showing this. It's a massacre.
Oh,
they can't put a foot wrong.
No.
It is one-way traffic.
The thing is as well, it's entirely stumped G2. They're trying different approaches. They're trying different holds. They're trying different methods. And Secret seemingly working in an entirely different threshold right now. There's, like here, playing with the Maestro Cam, getting the zaps, fine, but Lawyer is just filthy. Lawyer being able to get that as well and get caught out whilst that's happening, whilst the Maestro Cam's going, and then the swing onto Doki. G2 is struggling to sort of put a puzzle together right now. They're looking at the pieces, and Secret just keeps slapping the pieces off the table and changing the puzzle and saying, now we're doing this new thing. And G2's like, I'm still trying to work out the last thing you gave me.
to the professionals.
Check your gear.
This
Mowgli,
feels like... It feels like your little brother has said, oh, can we play this game? Little does he know you have so much history with this one game that he's asked you to play, and you've completely done him over.
4-0. And just an exceptional start. And Mowgli as well is so confident. But what I've said about Noah showing up, Mowgli as well, who has had big
game
games
yesterday, I thought, as well.
Yeah.
I think it's good to see him bounce back from where he was yesterday. I mean, Noah was the savior for that third game against Wolves, no doubt about it. But yeah, they're all showing up. Everyone's doing a job.
Well, as the swing round comes in.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Chalk it.
Woo! Is he going to get himself up to double digits before he's killed? Savage on a different shield. He's more than capable. Yeah, they've got rid of the Monty as we can see, but we can happily rotate onto someone else. There's somebody below inside the archives that they're trying to root out and force them back. It's Doki just playing that extension, but as the ground gets tighter and narrower, he's going to slip himself out. Now with the shield, trying to make friends. Savage is slightly hurt. Remember, he's got the kits. They don't want him to get caught out and isolated. Almost caught just from being a little bit too cavalier and confident. And it's not that G2 can't make plays happen. Oh, caught by a blitz. There's the E1D, so they can catch him if he tries to run away. But instead, he's stayed close and focused, and Adrian has the cover. Doki does drop Savage from range. And that's the shield gone. It's 2 versus 4, and they're in a little bit of an awkward position there. There's pressure that can come from above. They've obviously lost the control of archives as well. They've lost control of the beeper side, and Secret can use this time to start opening doors, opening extra range. They have their hard breach. They have, well, you assume, used their soft breach. There's been no real limitation in their pockets. A spray through doesn't connect. Adrian gets Loira, and Doki gets got to. What do you do? What do you do?
It's just Secret things. Secret, whenever they're on it, they are more than on it. Like even that opening, that 2-piece there from Noah, just everything is going their way. Everything. 5-0, G2, not even in it. Opening double kill. I mean, the round was done at that stage. You know, G2 just not in it. Just everything is going wrong for them. They can't find a groove. They can't find a rhythm. They've went back down here again where, I mean, Secret have just been running them over. I mean, to be fair, where can you go if you're G2? I feel as though they're just going to have like a lash out round here. Because if they try and play typical Siege where they try and play like just default, Secret are going to ruin that. I feel as though G2 is just going to try and just run at them. I don't know why. But even then, I don't think that's going to work. I don't see this changing. I don't.
Attackers projected to defuse a bomb.
I'm kind of curious when the last time G2 were 7-0 was.
Give me a minute.
Because it's probably been a while. Like, I know they've had series that have gone out and they've had bad days, but...
Drone activated.
At this rate, 5 rounds, 5 kills. Or 6 kills even. Sorry, but it's not that much better. They are completely in a tailspin. Fishing for control, a slightly different hold here. They pulled off blue, and Loira does get the opening kill. They have hope. They double it down with a little bit of, I'm going to say, prepared panic. Yes, he threw a C4 in the hope someone would be on the window, but at the same time, it's not unlike Secret to have a second player ready to go, and the second player was just a bit to the side. It's Savage. Sees the pressure, sees the control, gets himself across the distance, but Stomping gets Adrian. But as soon as you start looking for that 7-0 graphic, that might be why things have changed. Savage is still trying to drive. There's 2 players in front of him, shows the confidence of the blitz. As Mowgli wants to lead themselves in, they can't really go through the gauntlet of the door itself. But it's a very, very good opener here for G2, and it's a lifeline to maybe a success round. And you can see they've actually started exploring the map now. I think they've gone above those players behind. Mowgli's having to defend the top of the blue stairs. And does go down. Well, have you got the numbers? Because we might not get it.
Well, I don't think we need the 7-0 now. We can maybe look at the 7-1. Last time, I mean, realistically, G2 got a beating, which was a 7-1 defeat at Reload against your team, FearX.
FearX?
FearX is the bogey team for G2, though. Don't forget that. That team always causes them issues.
Maybe that's why I love them so much. It was on Skyscraper, that one. Which we might see. Ooh. And at this point, I think G2, they're just going to get that round locked in. And a flawless.
Yeah.
I mean, they needed a round, let alone a flawless. They have been able to get above the waves and take a breath. But they're still swimming in deep water.
It's a long road for G2. They're pretty much going to have to do what Secret did yesterday against Wolves. Big old comeback to try and get themselves back into this game, but I mean, it's tough now. And look, G2, I just think the confidence for them is what they're going to struggle. If you look at the face cams, it's not as jovial as what it usually is. You know, some somber looking faces knowing that, you know, we've got ourselves into a right mess here. How are we going to clean it up and get ourselves out? Look at the bans. I mean, Wise from Secret going straight in for that Monty ban. Same way that Secret were able to use and abuse that operator. Secret wants nothing to do with it. Banned immediately. For G2, this first attack, I think this is what makes or breaks it, really.
What else can they sort of do other than try and be confident, though, right? Well, with how you've had this map have a pace set by Secret, with how you've had this map have a control set by Secret, G2 have had a lifeline. The longer they can stay off map point and series point at this point is always going to be the best possible thing. But also, as you said, having momentum just before. If there was one round that you could win on a half, it would be the last before the turn of the half, because then you get this opportunity. As you said, they need to get this first attack. Truthfully, they need to get at least the first 3, I think, to suddenly set this apace. But at the same time, Demo, I don't see us getting a halftime Leo call-in when a team's 5-1 up at the half this time.
Yeah, he's learned from yesterday.
Do I?
That guy, Leo, that's 11 daylights out of that Wolves team, I'll tell you. He couldn't see the Brits win, could he? He couldn't stomach it, so he had to get in there and do something.
Here, he's not doing anything to slow it down.
Oh, well, I mean, Falcons is free, so he doesn't care. He's got French representatives at the major. He's not really bothered what happens after this.
Breach charge ready.
Doki's laying up a fight around Archives. There's slow mounting pressure on Savage, and just can't slip away. They're not able to confirm it, though. Mowgli should be able to get the pick up at this point. RG2 going to try and chase tails. Yes, is the answer, but Alamount does get Adrian, who also tried to offer some support. There's the pressure coming through, and Doki did exactly the right thing there.
Disaster round here from all accords from Secret. I mean, they went for a massively aggressive start, which is so strange considering the site. It's a basement. I mean, look where the last guy is. He's inside of lobby, for goodness sake. What was that from Secret? That's not a traditional way of defending that bomb site. On the board, but still a long way to go yet, because again, White, the uphill battle for them as Secret are in a very commanding lead. So we head in towards the top floor. That's what we were in previously for that quick rehost. Now, obviously for G2, whenever it comes to this top floor, about that Monty may make things a little bit more difficult than kind of what we've seen from Secret and their attacks, of course. And also for Secret, they're bringing in operators like the Castle, for example, to really establish a strong foothold in towards this top floor, block away some of those strong windows that gives those long lines of sight. So, yeah, good lineup overall from Secret. And I assume they're probably going to try and go for a bit of a bandit trick too. Similar to what G2 tried to go for. You know, you see a tub, you see a bandit. Immediately you think, okay, try and lock down that counter wall.
Yeah, oh, 100%. It's try and keep the control of that position. We see Secret put a lot of pressure into that position, as we do pretty much every team. But think about the drive up spiral and then the push when they had that as their first port of call and they went from that position onwards. They know what they want to do, and they also know what they want to defend. There's the Kali going to try and put the pressure onto it. As you said, you sort of have that game. That game is one that goes both ways. When you know that they're going to put the pressure onto it, when you know they want to control it, they're going to control it. Now, with underneath already in their favor, but a spray break through the impact DMPs, get a catch, and without being able to trick both walls, there's the activation. There's the freeze out though.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it does get rid of the bandit batteries, and with the fire, they won't be able to trick immediately on it. But I mean, again, that's what 4 different operators were just involved in the pressure onto that wall.
Oh, this is very slippy from Adrian. Finds a gap where he's now going to go for the bandit trick. Electrify the walls, but Doki just walks up. Nobody was covering for him. That is very surprising from Secret to let that kill go. The trade is there, but G2 are just constantly putting more pressure on these players in the bomb site.
Well, now it's traded back and forth. Banana is as slippy as ever as Loira. Alone on the back. Doesn't want to get caught out by the rotating player up, but Savage wins a scrappy engagement. And now they have a back line that they can build to the 2 remaining G2 players, doesn't matter how close they got. Because they're just trying to make sure that they feel as uncomfortable as ever at this point with a minute. You've got to try and operate together, but it's awkward because every single firefight can come from every single angle. Blaz does win one out, though. Mowgli caught. And now it's 2 versus 2. But the pressure of the plant is always going to hang over the top of them, and they've got 2 smoke bolts that they can try and utilize, and that is about it. There's an awareness. But it doesn't stop the swing and the kill. Leaves just Alamau left, keeping G2 off of map and series point. Now they just want to try and make sure that they can swing at the same second. There was some awareness, but whatever drone that was making those pings is at this point gone. Has found himself a slight route through. Now, as the pre-fired shots come across, there's decent rotation. Secret, they're aware. They're making sure they're in the right positions, and now they sit on series point, 1 round away from confirming themselves off to Munich.
Really big gunfights there from Savage, winning those engagements. Won the fight over on the split player, over towards the square. Won it out against Loira. Like, if Loira wins that, then really G2 are in a position where they're attacking both sides of the bomb site, and then the defenders are just going to be under so much pressure that they're going to crack because of that. So a massive gunfight there from Savage, and then even wins one out against Blaz to get that man advantage back in their favor, and then obviously gets the final kill too. So yeah, big old round from Savage. I thought that was so risky there from Adrian, the fact that he's done that without really knowing if anyone's going to be there to cover. I mean, maybe he was told, oh, go and bandit trick, I'll cover you, but I don't know, there was no coverage. It's weird.
He was lied to.
Someone's betrayed him.
At this point now, G2 have to run the rest of this gauntlet flawless. Otherwise,
10 seconds remaining.
Well, they've got a lower bracket they've got to run through. Not the most unknown terrain for this team. They've won hammers from a lower bracket. But this isn't the way they would like to go. We hyped up the start of this. Especially me. Talk about how it could be the map of the season. It currently hasn't been. It's not over yet, and if it pulls back, well, it might be, but it's not there yet. Okay, even with a great first swing and all the confidence of Doki, and all the pressure they put on the Kanto wall, couldn't get the lock in at the end of it. Gives the route in for Alamau just to hop in. And the pressure onto Kanto wall again, but they're watching for that approach probably this time a little bit more attentively. There's the slow slip up, and there's the target of the Azami. Pings on the player around, and and there is a removal of a castle. Noah, no problem for Alamau.
Yeah, nothing on that spiral. Stopping Alamau from just walking in and taking that position. Loira with the shotgun able to find Mobley and Secret now. On the back foot by 2. Jim, though, able to at least get 1 kill back. Still, more that they need to try and find. And they're really thinking maybe our Secret on for perhaps a retake up through lobby. I don't know if that's the way that they want to play it. They still have got good control over towards Archives and Towers, but I mean, really for how long the whammy? As soon as the Ram gets in and start opening up above that position, then Secret, where can they sit that's going to be safe? And even Jim, I mean, this is a dangerous position. I'm pretty sure he played that way against Wolves, where he was just dancing underneath the vertical, but this time thinking, you know what, let me just go back to site. We don't have numbers advantage. I don't want to make my team be in a 4v2. At least if the 4v3, we still have a bit of a chance. And really, that's what it's going to come down to. It's how well can Secret hold on in this 4 versus 3. They don't have any denial, which is probably the biggest worry. G2 could very easily just go in for a plant, and there's not a lot that Secret could do to stop it at range.
Loira taking at least some of the damage, but is dropping in with a shotgun. So any engagement he's going to want to do, if he's not within a pace of 5 of it, it's going to be a single strike from one of those SMGs, and it's the run over. The blinds start to roll, the executes coming together, and Zoom steps in, steps away. There's the spray through, though. Alamau keeps the pressure up now with the body inside, but think about where the kit is at this point. Blaz is trying to drive it towards the back end. He sent himself in, and there goes 1 more for Doom on a triple for the round. Secret have the kit under their control. They also have Alamau stomping in a 1 versus 2 in 17 seconds, and he's stuck in a box, trying to smash his way out. More keepers after keepers after keepers. Oh, they're selling out of keepers here and selling out of the room. They're gone 4 seconds. G2 to the lower bracket. Team Secret, willkommen to Munich.
Oh, and it's only fitting that the man to get them there is their German player, Jum. What a round.